Someone tried to tell me what snow was after I had seen it fall for the first time. He was trying to steal a small joy from me. Fool that he thought he could steal from my hands what had already melted. Fool that he saw meanness in nature when in fact she is impersonal and doesn't give a damn what any of us sees or thinks. Swans and typhus all wrought by the same hand, said a famous killer, and I concur. The miracle is in what the observer makes of it. He does not understand what the Romantics knew about the relationship between the artist and nature. He does not understand that we give snow many names, and they are all the right names. That we give snow many faces, and they are all snow's true face. He saw snow as the interior of his heart. And he was right. There's so many huggable people in this audience. This hug goes out to Laurel Ann Bogan and Erica Erdman. This is called Pumpkin Confidential. Her rumph. This is no smile, it is a rictus of negative space, and I am growing surly in my old age. What is retirement? Sulking for days on a west-facing slope above Half Moon Bay among the rest of the failed carriages? I should have been more than the scullery gal's ride home. I should have been the centerpiece of the ball, not the rolling means to the anteroom. I don't care that the punch would have poured out my eyes. So what? Pedigree? My children, these flat teardrops, dried out, salted, and sold at the counter with ginseng packs and quick picks? Advice. Never work with other harbingers of the season, cats especially. And most especially if they are a spinster's familiar. The little bastards are prone to devour the landscape, amplifying desire, snatching the very breath from the sky. Skeletons, on the other hand, have it easy this time of year. October sees them heading south on noisy party buses for the festivities in San Antonio, Cabo, and Miami. Call them the xylophone people. When they dance, every step is a wind chimes report. October finds me finishing out my days as a smudge pot. Near the witching hour, the pubescent runts lacking soap will make merry by hurling me at the grumpy farmer's front porch. Put it together, and what have you got? A boneyard of pulp, and only 55 shopping days left until you know what. That's what. There's a conversation that begins, my name is Steve, but it really isn't. And it continues, oh, and I thought you were a cowboy who didn't like me. No, you're okay, you're cool. Well then, it must be the boots. This conversation begins in 1980 and sees the parties through false alarms, stylish matriculation, practical jokes involving a can of shaving cream and phenomenology. It's that kind of conversation. It will bet on one heart breaking and the other racing far too fast, and the medicine for the problem won't arrive until well after the conversation has ended abruptly in 1987. But it's all right. It's all right because in heaven there's a wedding reception where you can get strawberries on a small china plate, strawberries and chocolate, darker than moonless midnight, arranged in a friendly, edible circle. In heaven, where your friends get married and you get fed, there are places to perch that overlook the lazy, vast cerulean. There are sweet things to pass between your lips, and there are sweet words that never will, but in heaven, it's all unspoken. In heaven, also, there's a dance floor where the conversation continues, and we're clinging to each other as if the fate of every horse on earth depends on the outcome of this clinch. We haven't spoken in 20 years, but I just wanted to tell you that in heaven, there's a 24-hour diner with a 10-cent cup of the best coffee you've ever had. This is about what it's like to get radiation treatment. Dr. Christopher Rose has a poet's name, and he is given to kicking furniture back into alignment in the middle of a consultation. He should be played by Gene Wilder in the movie. Today, Dr. Christopher Rose is drawing a football schematic on my chest, probably the Hail Mary play from the look of the X's and arcs, or likely a wishbone formation, given the treatment site. This is the storyboard. I am receiving an electron boost instead of genuine radiation today because the radiation has ravaged my left armpit. The skin is cracked and peeled back raw. It looks like an aerial photograph of an evaporated lake. So they have scouted a new location. They actually call this region the axilla, or the tail of the breast.
Oh, yeah.
My breast has a tail. The treatment itself is like being placed on a slide and scrutinized by the world's largest microscope. The aperture that shoots clean, non-burning electrons into the incision site is as big as God's eye. Yet, I imagine that neither God nor doctor peers through the eyepiece, but rather one seriously amped film editor, sucking all the nicotine out of her last fag as she aligns Dr. Rose's broken lines for the lap dissolve. On the X-ray display of the simulator room, I see my breast, tall, tail, and all, sitting fat and sassy on the Gothic arches of my ribs. Hail Mary, yes indeed. Bob, the Indian technician, should be played by Art Malik, tucks my fat, sassy breast into place like dough that has been punched down and folded to rise some more. Bob, you see, runs a restaurant on the side. Later, Bob checks my schedule on the big screen for next week, and up pop all the statistics of my treatment like frozen film credits. The movie's title is an amber neon burn at the screen top. Symmetry. I say on my way out, Bob, I'm a poet. That should say fearful symmetry. Thank you very much. Thank you.